stood with other families through the hardest of times. So when you're looking for peace of mind, let our family help your family. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. We're here when you need us.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome in to Miller Time on this rainy Thursday. Thankfully, it is the rain before the sunshine of a high school football Friday. And on this Thursday night, along with Matt Crawford, I'm Matt Miller, and we'll be with you for the next couple of hours till 7 o'clock as we preview this weekend in high school football. Matt, it'll be a relatively short preview because it's kind of unprecedented that we have two Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference teams on a bye the same week.
Spring Mills and Washington, both on a bye here in Week 8 of the high school football season.
And then we've got two of the EPAC teams squaring off against one another in Hedgesville and Martinsburg. So really only two other games to talk about. Musselman at Wheeling Park, that should be a good one, and Loudoun Valley at Jefferson, and that will be interesting as well.
I was going to say, it'll be an interesting one, not necessarily a good game, but an interesting one at that. Both teams coming in without a win on the season so far. Loudoun Valley at 0-5, Jefferson at 0-6.
We may just spend a little bit of time previewing some college football as well. I believe we've got some comments in our computer system from Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator for the Mountaineers, that we were hoping to get to maybe over the last day or so.
Monday, Tuesday, yesterday. It
didn't happen. So we may just hear from him as the Mountaineers get ready to play at Iowa State. We've got Fairmont State at Shepherd this Saturday and Rutgers at Maryland. It is homecoming down at Maryland. Are you going?
Nah.
No?
It's not. I mean, I didn't go to Maryland. It's not a homecoming for me. I'm a diehard Maryland fan, but no, I haven't actually been into a Maryland game, and football-wise at least, in 2 years. I've been down there for a couple games just in College Park and just watched the games at buddies' houses, but I haven't actually been into a Maryland football game in a couple years.
Rutgers 1-5, 0-3 in the Big Ten. Maryland 3-2, 1-1 in the league.
Speaking of Big Ten, today was Big Ten Media Day for basketball. So basketball season right around the corner. The real happy time in College Park, because while football is nice and all, University of Maryland is a basketball school.
Can I go ahead and yawn now?
What?
Who? Again, it's too early. Why do I care about basketball right now?
Because the season's it's under 30 days away.
Which is my point. It shouldn't be.
Why?
It's an indoor sport. We used to have sports based on the seasons, right? Football tended to be a fall sport. And then basketball came in as a winter sport. And then as the weather turned, you got into baseball. And now it's all screwed up, just like the weather. Just like it's 80 degrees in October, this past week. Let's play basketball now. Why?
They're not playing basketball now. They're playing basketball early to mid-November.
Oh, right.
Which is when the weather's getting colder.
Which means they're practicing it now, and they're holding media day. I don't want to talk basketball. I don't care about Big Ten basketball right now. I care about Big Ten football.
Do you really care about Big Ten basketball ever?
No, I like Maryland. I root for the Terps in basketball, and there's some pretty good programs out of the Big Ten. I've liked Wisconsin through the years and the style and the system that they run. So yeah, I care a little bit, I guess you might say. And obviously, Michigan State has been a contender for years. So there's some good basketball there. But I'll talk about that in January or February.
They start league play in December. They play a few games before they go out on winter break.
Which is part of what stinks royally about basketball starting too early, because when you're supposed to be talking about high school football, end of regular season, playoffs, that sort of thing, and college football and big conference battles and reaching the point where, who's going to play in their conference championship and possible college football playoffs, who are the 4 teams going to be, and bowl seedings and all of that, then we're talking about it's time to start basketball. But the matchups, for the most part, I give them credit. There are a few early season matchups that you have to have, otherwise everybody's going to be like me. But for the most part, and Maryland's playing the Little Sisters of the Poor on Thursday. It'll be a great 107-42 game where Maryland will find out a whole lot of nothing about how good their team really is. But let's do that right now instead of focusing on football. I don't get it.
You seem to be very, I don't know, very adamant about this whole scheduling thing. I mean, to me, it's the more sports you have, the merrier.
No,
I don't like dead night. The day, I guess it would be the day, 2 days after the All-Star game. That is really the driest day in sports, where there's nothing. I don't like that. When there's nothing on, nothing to talk about, nothing to look at. To me, it's the more sports, the merrier. It doesn't bother me at all.
Nah.
And Maryland's got some pretty good matchups. They play Marshall.
When?
That is November 23rd. It's a home game for Maryland. They play Virginia in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Virginia's been good in recent years.
Yes.
Then early December, the 1st and the 6th, you have Penn State and you have Purdue. Those are good games. They played Loyola of Chicago. Nobody thought that was going to be a good game, except what did Loyola do last year? Oh, they just went to the Final Four. So that's a good non-conference game. That's December 8th. They actually played back-to-back Loyolas this year, which is kind of funny because they play Loyola out of Maryland and Loyola of Chicago. So there's a couple of early season good games. They play Navy, which they don't do in basketball that often. That's always a fun rivalry.
But not necessarily a good game.
And Navy's not awful.
No.
Maryland's better, but Navy's not awful.
Okay, but what about the other games?
Delaware.
Yeah, okay.
Lynn. I don't even know who Lynn is.
Hopefully she's good at basketball.
North Carolina, A&T, Hofstra, okay. The Mount St. Mary's.
Okay.
Seton Hall, Radford.
Yeah.
So, but again, you throw in the Marshall game, the Virginia game.
Okay, so
the Loyola of Chicago game. That's not a bad.
You just gave me 7 games while throwing at me about 4 okay games.
That's what a major Power 5 conference basketball schedule looks like. Be happy it's sports. You're a sports guy. You're supposed to love this time of year. Football's starting to heat up in college and the pros. You have baseball playing the best baseball possible right now. Then you're throwing in basketball right as baseball ends. You're just swapping baseball for basketball.
You just came to my side, though, for that brief moment when you just talked about where other sports are. Now's not the time to have you open the show going, hey, by the way, it was Big Ten Basketball Media Day today. What? Why are we talking college basketball? We're talking college basketball.
Talking practice.
Seriously, that's it. We're talking practice. Because up until January, that's about what it is. Practice. I don't know.
I'm excited about it.
I didn't intend to get on this rant. It's just funny when
I don't know why you're ranting.
It's too early. It just my brain is on overload.
So are you okay? So you have the same issue with NBA basketball too.
Yeah,
okay.
All of it. Hockey, to be honest, while it's good to see the Caps back on the ice, you even mentioned it, especially when you go deep into the playoffs and make a Stanley Cup run, whether you win it or not, which the Capitals did. Last night's opponent, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, did not. It still meant only about a month and a half off for those two teams. That's too much. That tells me right there that the season is too long. You start too early, you
the season
end
is
too late.
too long calendar-wise, or the season is too long game number-wise?
I don't know. I honestly
because
can't
honestly
say.
With hockey, hockey's a brutal sport.
And
a lot of times the Capitals schedule has been bizarre so far.
Yes.
But a lot of times they're playing every other night. if you shorten the schedule calendar-wise, guys are going to be injured left and right.
Then that leads me to believe then there's too many games.
I wonder
So
how
you've
they
gotta
got to
reduce
this
the
many
games.
games. Was it a money-making strategy?
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. Major League Baseball needs to cut back the number of games. The regular season is too long. The playoffs going all the way, the World Series Game 7 going into November shouldn't happen. Reggie Jackson was not Mr. November.
Derek Jeter's Mr. November.
Oh, yeah, okay. But why? Because the games got shifted to the point it's too late in the year. What drives me crazy about baseball is the fact that you start in crappy weather in late March to early April in a lot of cities across the country, and then you play a 162-game schedule. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And you do it in the heat of summer, the dog days of summer. Then you get to the most important games at the end of the year, and you're back to playing in field conditions and weather conditions that were the same as the crappy conditions at the very beginning of the season. Seriously?
My thing with that is, and I agree with you that the baseball season's too long. My thing is, when it comes to professional sports, it shouldn't be, okay, we can have an awful first half of the season, but as long as we have a good second half of the season, we should be fine. Why? Football is perfect. Football, you know who's good and who's bad by week 4. You know who is going to be in the playoff hunt or not in the playoffs for the most part by week 4 of the season.
Except for the NFC East.
Yeah, who knows who's coming out of that this year. But you know what I mean? Baseball, you're sitting there the first 2 months of the season, and yeah, okay, the Nats are having a good season. Or the Nats, the first part of their season, you're going, man, they're going to be a 100-game winner this year.
April and May.
And then the rest of the season, they suck.
June, July, August, September. Yeah, not
But
good.
vice versa, you can have teams that are not playing very good baseball at the beginning part, really up until about June. And as long as they have a good couple of months to end the season, they're going to make the playoffs. That's not professional
Oakland
sports.
A's.
Yeah, professional sports, I think you should be forced to be good all year long.
But see, that's why I say baseball is the marathon.
Yeah.
Baseball is the unique sport in that regard. Basketball, while it is a relatively long season, you still kind of have a good idea, you know, of who's going to be good or not good, who's going to make the playoffs or not. By the way, NBA, did you get all fired up last night? LeBron James and the Lakers played Golden State in a meaningless preseason game. Were you excited?
I saw LeBron gets drunk with his kids.
I didn't see that one.
No, apparently he did an interview talking about how mature his kids were. 11 and 14, apparently, they drink wine with LeBron and his wife.
Like at a meal? Or?
Yeah. So, which I grew up in an Italian family. That's not weird for some people, but
for others,
grow up going to church. It's communion. You drink wine at church, and I don't know. But people were making the biggest deal, I guess, because it's a public figure talking about, I get quote unquote underage drinking. But man, I'm going, okay, have a glass of wine with your parents at 11 and 14. It's not like he's sitting there going, yeah, I've given my kids wine in a sippy cup when they were 4 years. I don't know. But every sports outlet last night was ridiculing him as a father. And I'm going, get over yourselves. But no, I didn't even know about you. Apparently, you were all stoked for that preseason game.
Yeah, I was. I'm sure I wish Caleb were with us today, unable to be here in studio today. But I'm sure he was probably watching that one with, as they say, bated breath. There seemed to be a lot of attention paid to it. I heard earlier LeBron played, 18 minutes, scored like 18 points. Curry for Golden State, Steph scored, I think, 23, I heard. They didn't say how many minutes he played, whether he played longer into the game or not. But the regular season is around the corner. Let's not get too hyped up over this particular preseason.
I'll try to contain myself.
And you're doing a good job.
Thank
Unlike myself, I've been out of control in the first segment, and my apologies to everyone.
Speaking of out of control in the first segment, we are going way over.
Oh, my.
Taking a break here. We got a whole bunch of high school football to talk.
We do.
So let's take a break.
All right.
Come back and talk some high school football.
Sounds good to me.
You down?
I'm down.
Let's do it. It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR.
I'm lonely as I can be. I'm waiting for your company. I'm hoping that you come back to me.
You can
injured, you're missing work, the medical bill collectors keep calling, and the other person's insurance company wants a lot of confusing paperwork signed and returned. At Ferretti Law Office, we handle these situations to protect your rights and get you the compensation you deserve. We explain how the insurance coverages work for your benefit and what a lawyer like me can do to make a difference. Call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505 to schedule an appointment to discuss your situation for free. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
Who deserves your vote in District 65? The Eastern Panhandle Business Association endorses Delegate Jill Upson in the 65th Delegate District. EPBA examined legislators' votes on 15 key pieces of legislation this year. Jill Upson's score placed her in the Champion of Prosperity category. Upson has a proven record of supporting legislation to sensibly streamline state government and enacting education and legal system reforms. Upson is right for Jefferson County, right for West Virginia. Jill Upson deserves your vote and support. Paid for by EPBA PAC.
I'm Ari Wolf of NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin has been fined $25,000 by the league for criticizing the officiating after last week's win over the Falcons, a game in which 14 penalty flags were thrown. Tomlin said after the game these penalties are costing people gains and jobs, called the officiating a joke, and asked the league to get better. He is one of two coaches currently on the competition committee. The Eagles will be making their first trip to London in Week 8, and there have been reports suggesting that a former member of the team could be back in time for the trip across the Atlantic. Philly reportedly making calls to Buffalo to inquire about a trade for LaShawn McCoy, something head coach Sean McDermott nor Shady himself wanted to talk about on Wednesday. Elsewhere, the Giants ruling out tight end Evan Ingram for Thursday Night Football. Olivier Vernon, however, is set to make his 2018 debut. And for the Eagles, Darren Sproles has been ruled out with a hamstring injury. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Looking for a hot tub this winter? Looking for great deals on grills this football season? Sunfire Energy Solutions, located at 301 East Stevens Street in Martinsburg, is the place to be this Thursday through Saturday with specials, food, and fun. Sunfire Energy Solutions is offering up to $1,500 off of any hot tub, 10% off of any unit or stove, and great deals on all grills. Talk Radio WRNR will be broadcasting live, so come out this weekend to Sunfire Energy Solutions, located at 301 East Stevens Street in Martinsburg.
Hi, I'm Brett Rogers, candidate for House of Delegates, 63rd District. I'm a lifelong resident of Berkeley County and the son of two career educators. I support gun rights and other civil liberties. I support tax relief and elimination of inefficient business regulations. I support teachers and parents and competition in education. I'm running for delegate to speak out forcefully in Charleston for the interests of Berkeley County. Instead of the same old, I'll be your breath of fresh air downstate. I'm the fiscally conservative, open-minded, and energetic choice for our community. This election, vote for Brett Rogers for delegate, paid for by candidate.
We welcome you back into Miller Time on this Thursday evening. Rants are done and time for fun.
For now, you never know.
Yeah, they can pop up at any time on this program. Yeah, let's talk a little high school football as we begin to preview tomorrow night's 3 games involving Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference teams. 1, a league matchup, number 9 Hedgesville visiting number 2 Martinsburg. The Dogs up a spot with the win against Sharando last week, 50-45. The Dogs now 7-0, and they are 1 win shy of tying the longest winning streak in West Virginia State high school football history.
Could be a fun weekend.
Could be. 35 straight wins for the Bulldogs. We caught up with head coach David Walker and asked him about last week's thrilling victory over Sharando.
Well, I was just extremely pleased. The fact that we give up 45 points and still won is just amazing. But I thought it was a great high school football game, and I'm sure it was fun to watch from the stands.
Certainly fun to watch. Fun to see how the game developed. Is this the type of game that almost takes on its own personality? No matter what you try to do, the other team, whether it was you or Sharando, seemed to find a way to get to the end zone.
Well, I told our kids all week that they were going to face adversity at some point and not to get rattled, just to keep playing. And you're playing a great team like Sharando. They're going to make some big plays. They're going to do some things, and they certainly did. So I was pleased with the way our guys responded, and then we were able to get up on them a little bit, and we continued to play well until maybe the last couple of minutes of the game. But they're a great team. We got a lot of respect for them, and I was just glad that we were able to come out on top.
Throughout the course of the game, you moved your quarterbacks in and out in a way that you hadn't through the prior 6 games. Usually it's been in a series, one quarterback may take the whole series. Why did you choose in this game to maybe make those switches even from play to play?
Well, we talked about doing different things in different situations, and we talked about rotating them in during series, but we never really felt like we needed to or wanted to, and I just felt like that was the time to do it. There was times that we wanted Grant to have a run, an RPO or run pass option type thing, and to use his legs, and then there's certain things that I feel like Elijah was doing a lot better than Grant on some of his throws. So it was just a situational thing, and a couple times, Grant had a couple of real long runs, and maybe I wanted to get him a breather for a play, but a lot of it was situational stuff, and I thought, Grant came in a little high, maybe a little too amped up, and a couple errant passes, and then Elijah comes right in, settled in, and throws really well. So I thought they complemented each other really well, and I thought they did, both of them did what they had to do to make sure our team was successful.
One young man that was not able to be on the field was Dwayne Grantham, a very key part of your running game and maybe even more of a key part of your defense as a linebacker. What does it say about your team that even without a player like him on the field, you could go out and do what you did to get that type of win?
Well, it just shows how they pull together. And they practiced together, and they knew they were going to have their backs against the wall, especially without Dwayne, and especially defensively. So the fact that we were able to still come out with a victory without him, says a lot about our kids. So I was just pleased with the effort that we got out of them.
Anything new on Dwayne? Can you share with us? Will he be able to play this week?
It's unlikely that he's playing this week. Right now, it's just going to be a week-by-week thing.
When we talk about this week, it's the Hedgesville Eagles. It's a rivalry county showdown and a matchup of 2 of the top 10 teams right now in Class AAA. Your thoughts on what you're seeing from the Eagles and what you expect in this game?
Well, I know it's going to be an emotional game, be a physical game. Anytime your rivals are playing, the kids know each other, it's going to be a little amped up. But offensively, they're they throw the ball around. They got some athletes trying to get the ball to Brown and Smith and doing some different things. And defensively, they're very aggressive. They like to bring some pressure and do some things. So it's going to be a big challenge for us, especially I think early in early stages of the game. I think it's going to be a lot of emotion, and it's going to be a physical game. I think it should be fun to watch.
You mentioned the players knowing each other and familiar with the programs and so forth. Is it hard to erase from the minds of kids that final score from a year ago and try to convince them, hey, you better be ready to play?
I think they'll be ready to play once the lights flip on Friday night. But, we've not had the best week of practice. I think coming off that Sharando game, we've been a little lackluster this week. But they understand what's at stake. So each day they've gotten a little better. So, I think they'll be ready, once the lights come on.
Do you kind of expect a little bit of a letdown just because of the emotion and the energy and everything that went into a game like Friday?
I think it is a little bit. You're dealing with teenage guys, and my biggest thing is I wanted to just guard against complacency. I don't want them to think, well, we've just beat maybe the best team that's on our schedule. Now we don't have to prepare. So we've been drilling it in their heads this week, and I think we've gotten some things done. But it definitely this week of practice wasn't as good as last week's.
Coach, we wish you all the best in this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we hear from Martinsburg head coach David Walker as the Bulldogs get ready to face the Hedgesville Eagles tomorrow night. I would imagine that you're not going to see the intensity, at least in the early part of the week practice-wise, just because of the emotion, the energy, everything that went into that game to beat Sharando 50-45 on Friday night.
See, I'm coming at it the other way. After a nice win like that you really had to grind it out against a good team, you really set your stamp on this season by beating Sharando. I think you'd come out ready to go going, all right, I mean, obviously they know they're a good team because they've won 35 in a row and have really run over the competition so far this year. But to me, I think if it were the way I'd be looking at it would be, hey, we're rolling now. We can really do something. Let's come out and have a good week of practice.
Well, we will find out if they're ready to go tomorrow night with a kickoff at 7, pregame at 6, Miller Time at 5. We'll get the Hedgesville side of the story next on Miller Time.
CBS News update. After the storm, facing the devastation.
The total devastation. Every piece of property, if it isn't got something wrong with it, it's leveled. Things that were on the beach are now on the other side of the street.
That woman surveying her neighborhood in Mexico City, Florida, which was caused by Hurricane Michael, that arrived as a powerful Category 4 and is now a tropical storm.
I'm Jim Crusul in Greensboro, North Carolina. Fire and EMS crews have been rescuing many people trapped in homes and vehicles by downed trees across central North Carolina as Tropical Storm Michael blows through. Torrential rain has led to widespread flooding. There have been swift water rescues in the North Carolina mountains and in the Roanoke, Virginia area where a flash flood emergency was posted.
At least 6 deaths are blamed on the storm, and nearly 700,000 customers are without power in 4 states. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
There's nothing wishy-washy about the next cool air mass that's coming in from the northwest overnight. Temperatures are going to drop, and they're going to keep on dropping. Mid-50s, the low for the morning and for the daytime on Friday. Even when sunshine comes back for the day, it'll be gusty and blustery from the northwest, and we see highs of only 61 degrees. Lows mid-40s Friday night. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
Hello, this is Joe Manchin, and growing up in my hometown of Farmington taught me that people matter more than anything else. I've never cared what political party anyone belongs to, as long as they'll work with me to help West Virginia. I've been meeting with clergy and faith leaders all over West Virginia to talk about health care for people with pre-existing conditions. Patrick Morrissey's lawsuit would take away these protections. 800,000 West Virginians have a pre-existing condition, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, and cancer. Losing health care would be devastating for so many of our people. Patrick Morrissey is dead wrong, and he just doesn't know West Virginia. As West Virginians, we look after one another. That's why I'm also fighting for strong military, for secured borders, keeping our promises to our veterans and minors, and to protect Social Security and Medicare for our seniors. I'm Joe Manchin, candidate for the United States Senate, and I approve this message.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
In desperation of a victory, the Eagles visit the Giants tonight, 8:20 Eastern. New York just 1-4 on the year. Philly just 2-3, both coming off heartbreaking losses last week. What we know, Jay Ajayi not going to be available for Philly. Looks like he's done for the season, put on the IR. Corey Clement now looks like he will play tonight. Still no word on offensive lineman Lane Johnson. Good news in Green Bay. Geronimo Allison cleared of the concussion protocol. The bad, though, now he's dealing with a hamstring issue. Same going on with Randall Cobb. Neither of them were able to be full participants at practice today. Speaking of full participant, Panthers tight end Greg Olsen was there practicing and now trending towards playing for the first time since week number 1. 12 hockey games tonight, 3 NBA preseason games. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Honda certified pre-owned vehicles go through a 182-point inspection before they're sold. But it wasn't always 182 points. It used to be more, like point 253, where every previous owner goes through an extensive lie detector test.
Nice Civic.
Thank you.
So, where were you in it the night of February 5th, 2017?
My parents' house for a barbecue.
Bring any leftovers into the car with you?
Yes.
Foil or plastic?
Both.
Well played. You passed.
Or point 210, the dog hair interrogation.
Nice Accord, Mark. Bet you thought you could fool us, huh? What's this Labradoodle hair doing in the back seat?
It's probably from my friend's clothes. They have a dog.
Sure it's not your dog's hair?
I don't have a dog.
Oh. Then you passed.
You can see why we cut it down to 182 points. Visit HondaCertified.com to check out our latest certified pre-owned inventory from KBB.com's 2018 Best Value brand.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for information.
We are back once again on Miller Time for this Thursday evening. Matt Miller with Matt Crawford. Glad that you would take a few minutes out of your evening. All right, 2 hours out of your evening to join us. Hopefully you're staying for the whole program.
Got some fun stuff to talk about. I would recommend sticking around.
There you go. We had a rant in the early part. We heard from Coach Walker to begin to preview the Hedgesville at Martinsburg game. Coming up, we'll hear from Joey Urish and get the Eagle perspective on that game. But first, it's our regular feature. Not yesterday, not today, but tomorrow's date in sports history.
Taking a look at the 12th of October in sports history. A couple from 1979. Boston Celtic guard Chris Ford scores the first three-pointer in NBA history in the first quarter of a 114-106 win versus Houston. So the first three-point shot from beyond the arc. So obviously you could do a three-pointer the traditional way, the old-school way.
Getting fouled.
And they go to the line for one.
All right.
But the first ever three-point basket was Chris Ford, and that was in the first quarter of a 114-106 game.
And once again, that date was
October 12th, 1979.
79. I didn't realize it was that long ago.
1979 on tomorrow's date in sports history also marked the NBA debut of two pretty important guys when you're thinking NBA history, and that goes simultaneously with each other. Can you guess those with those hints? You can't really say one without the other.
Am I guessing Bird and Magic or something like that?
Correctamundo.
Yeah.
Larry Bird debuted in that Celtic game where they beat the Houston Rockets 114-106. Magic Johnson made his debut for the Lakers when they were at the San Diego Clippers, and the Lakers won 103-102. I had no idea they were San Diego Clippers at one point.
That was the beginning of just an incredible rivalry. Two great players on two opposite coasts with two very good programs or franchises. It was fun.
1991, Doug Flutie of the British Columbia Lions sets the Canadian Football League passing record with 582 yards. But they lost 45-38 to Edmonton in overtime. 1992, Redskin receiver Art Monk sets the then NFL record with 820 receptions.
He was one of the greats.
Still never forget his Hall of Fame enshrinement where he got like the 13-minute standing ovation because that was just so overdue. And we'll do one more, if we have one more. Not really a whole lot of other ones. No, that's it. We're going to stop there. We'll stop with Art Monk.
All right, tomorrow's date in sports history. After tomorrow, people will look back at the Hedgesville-Martinsburg game, right?
They will, hopefully.
High school football. Well, Hedgesville will come into that matchup 5 wins and 2 losses. They had a 4-game winning streak after dropping their second game of the season, that really tough one against South Hagerstown, where the game was halted the night before due to thunderstorms, and they only came back to play 48 seconds on Saturday and ultimately gave up what proved to be a game-winning touchdown. A little controversy as to that touchdown call as well. Did the back really get the football across the goal line? So, and then this Friday night, an equally tough loss by a 12-7 final at Musselman. That makes 11 straight games that the Applemen have won over the Eagles. I thought this year might be the year that Hedgesville was able to snap that, and it looks like they certainly had some opportunities as they held a 7-6 lead in that one until late in the game when Musselman was able to get that winning score.
Penalties.
Yeah.
Second week in a row we've mentioned penalties when it comes to head, and really the third time this year that we've read or heard about or seen those penalties in action, and it's just something they're going to have to cut back on, especially this week.
We will find out more about that right now from head coach Joey Urish of the Hedgesville Eagles. We started by asking just for an overview of his thoughts on his team's efforts against Musselman.
I was proud of our guys and how they came out and played. They didn't back down, and for the first time in 3 years, they kind of matched the intensity of Musselman, and that's kind of what we challenged them to do. So I was happy to see that from them. We made some costly penalties throughout the game that kind of killed us. We had some drives where we were driving down the field and got a holding penalty here and there, and that demoralized us. And then, there at the end of the game, we got a drive to trying to, finish the game, and we get 2 big penalties that put us back to a 1st and 33 situation, and we just can't do that against good teams.
You mentioned those penalties. I know looking back to that Preston game the week before, there was a lot of penalties in that game. Then you just mentioned penalties. I know there's quite a few in the Musselman game. What do you have to do to clean those up as the remainder of the season and the playoffs inch ever closer?
We preached it before last week. I told you all about it on the radio last week, and, we said it again this week with our guys. And, you can't fault them for being aggressive, but at the same time, they got to know and understand, just when to do those things and when not to do them. And obviously we were, just carrying on with the play too long, and, it's tough. It's just tough in the scenario where you get like that. So our guys have got to be able to control and maintain composure throughout the game. Especially this week, against probably the best team in the state of West Virginia. So we got to be able to just, maintain our composure and not shoot ourselves in the foot.
Despite a tough night offensively against Musselman, as you look at the way your offense has played overall throughout the course of 7 games, how well are you playing on that side of the ball?
I think we're doing, what we were supposed to be doing throughout the year. I think we've gotten the ball to our weapons when we needed to. We kind of got away from that a little bit against Musselman, and that's on me. As a coach, you got to look back and, evaluate yourself, and I take a lot of that fault on my own. But we had a chance to make some plays, and we did on Friday night. That's just, how it ended up. But offensively, I think O's played really well. We're going to try to utilize him in some different areas, see what he can do, and we got to get the ball in his hands more. And the same thing with Malachi and Niger.
Looking at the final score of that Musselman game, 12-7, the final. I know back in the studio here, we were expecting a shootout for that game. Were you kind of were you kind of anticipating that kind of game, or was that a surprise to you?
I don't think it was that big of a surprise. I told you all for 2 weeks. I think our defense has been really good this year. I think it doesn't show because of the opponents that we've had to face at the beginning of the year, but I think our defense is really good. And Musselman has a really good defense, and they did an unorthodox defense that we weren't used to and we didn't practice against all week. So that made us try to make some adjustments during the game. And Brian does a good job over there, and Wes Smith does a good job, and Matt does an awesome job here. So I wasn't surprised at that at all. I was kind of hoping that we'd come out on the winning end of it, but it is what it is.
What has been the key to that defensive success that you've been having?
Pressure and our guys not being, not backing down. Matt's defense is built on pressure and creating different looks for the offense, and he's been able to do that. Anytime you got a guy like Niger Smith back at the free safety position who can, intercept the ball at any given time, but can also come up and fill an alley, it kind of helps you out, and allows you to do some different things. And Keenan Smoot's been playing really good, and Jesse Kane. We got some guys on the defensive side of the ball that can run and tackle.
I know a game you probably want to forget from last year, but what do you see in the Bulldogs this year that could possibly have a different outcome?
Everybody talks about they're not as good as they were the last 2 years and this and that, but, they're just as good, if not better. They have so many weapons on the outside offensively that you can't really focus on one person, and Naeem Kearney is a great running back. Dwayne's not going to play because of his hip, but, Naeem is probably, in my opinion, a better running back than Dwayne. And, when Grant has the ball in his hands, it's a different weapon to deal with, too. And then they bring in Elijah, and he throws a ball as well as anybody in the state. So, offensively, they're going to be hard to stop. I mean, they put up 40-plus points against everybody that they played, and, that it's going to be hard to slow them down. Defensively, they've had the same linebackers for 3 years, so they got a lot of experience there. The secondary still have a lot of speed. And, we got to be able to maintain the clock, maintain drives, and slow them down and try to, keep ourselves in the ball game to give us a chance.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Good luck Friday night, and we'll see you there.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Joey Urish, head coach of the Hedgesville Eagles, his thoughts heading into a matchup at Martinsburg. And, Matt, he hits the nail on the head that they've got to keep this one close. Last year's game got away from them very quickly. Martinsburg went on for an 83-7 victory. If Hedgesville can keep this close, they have some playmakers that can break big plays.
They do. We talk about this every week. Their receiving core, their secondary, you look at their team, they're a very, very good high school football team. They have athletes on the offensive side of the football, especially out wide with Niger Smith, Malachi Brown, even the slot guys in Devin Heath and Hunter Coe.
Mm-hmm.
They're good, and they have a young quarterback. Ash is young. He's going to make some mistakes, but they have a good running game. They have the ability to be a very good high school football team. Again, I think it comes down to discipline, because all those guys are also playing on the other side of the football, and they're athletes on that side of the football too. So I think it comes down to discipline, which, again, comes down and boils down to what I was talking about before the interview with penalties. Those are things that when you're playing a very good team, when you're playing Musselmans, when you're playing Martinsburgs, you can't have those penalties that are going to set you back and not allow you to keep drives alive or give your opponent more of an opportunity to keep drives alive.
We'll see how it plays out tomorrow night. The game at Coburn Field again kicking off at 7. Our pregame at 6. Miller time at 5. Join us right here on Talk Radio WRNR and on TV 10. We'll have scoring updates of the other matchups. Musselman at Wheeling Park, Loudoun Valley at Jefferson. We'll begin to preview those games next on Miller Time.
Jack and I painted a picture of my life and my dreams. Suddenly this crazy world made more sense to me.
Come to Valley Guns 2 in Inwood for Smith & Wesson handguns like the MP 2.0 9mm full-size semi-automatic and the MP 2.0 compact. Or check out the Model 60 Pro Series Smith & Wesson revolver. For the ladies, there's the Smith & Wesson 380 Shield Easy. It's easy to load, easy to shoot, and easy to carry. See the full line of Smith & Wesson handguns at Valley Guns 2, Exit 5 off I-81 Inwood, West Virginia. Online at valleyguns2.com. Floodwaters can spread E. coli bacteria. Here's Bill Kearns from the Berkeley County Health Department about what to do if your well is tested positive.
If it's just a one-time contamination, you can superchlorinate your well, which we have instructions at the health department. They could call and talk to us. You're providing an excessive amount of bleach down the well. Then you do a runoff to get that out of the system, to get the bleach through your lines, get any contamination out of there. You do a runoff of so long, and then you can have it tested again.
The Berkeley County Health Department, 122 Waverly Court in Martinsburg. Call 304-263-5131.
Hello, Berkeley County. This is Dr. William Zaki McGill for County Council. I believe, just like you, that our teachers and working families deserve fair wages. We have a responsibility to support an economic renaissance in Berkeley County while still respecting Mother Nature. Help me to build bridges between the county and city councils, and help me create creative solutions to our challenges. Please vote for William Zaki McGill, County Council.
Paid for by friends and family of Dr. McGill for County Council.
If you're a hard-working man or woman, you want to get the best selection and value that you possibly can.
Hardworking folks know Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning is the best way to get the service you need if you have a heating or cooling problem. They'll beat any written price. Offer 24-hour service with free estimates and affordable financing. 24 hours a day, call Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality meets comfort, at 304-260-5644.
Hi, this is Tom Bibby, and I'm the Republican candidate for the West Virginia House of Delegates for District 62. I'm running because I want to cut taxes, limit government spending, and reduce overregulation to promote economic growth and prosperity for West Virginia.
You know what you're getting with Tom Bibby. Someone who will listen and work hard to represent you and fight for increased accountability and transparency in government. Not a career politician, Tom is a retired military officer and pilot with over 45 years in the public and private sectors. You can find out more about Tom's campaign at tombibbywv.com.
If you elect me as your delegate for District 62, my focus will be on creating jobs and the benefits that come from a vibrant economy, and I'll work hard to improve the quality of life for you and all West Virginians.
You can count on Tom Bibby to represent conservative values. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-Second Amendment, pro-business, pro-taxpayer, and above all, he's pro-West Virginia.
To find out more about my campaign, please visit my website at tombibbywv.com. That's tombibbywv.com. Thank you for listening. I would appreciate your vote this November.
This ad is paid for by the candidate, Tom Bibby, with the help of many supporters.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Thursday evening. Little Super Mario there?
Yeah.
Bling! I was never very good at that game.
I wasn't awful. I wasn't phenomenal.
Have we had this conversation briefly before where I think you and I are both very similar. We're sports-oriented guys, so we tended to play these sports-oriented games. And when you get a game like this where you're just kind of skipping through a maze and grabbing coins and, you know,
and
suddenly...
there is an objective, but there's not an objective.
Right. That, you know, you jump over one little pipe and the next thing you know, you slide down another one and you're in another world where you're getting extra bonus coins. And I'm just like... okay, I'm done. You know, let me go find a ball game somewhere. So I've never been good at those kind of games. Donkey Kong. Now, that was one I could get into because there was an objective. I got to save the girl. I got to get to the top. So I can jump barrels and climb ladders and get up there. But Pac-Man a little more, too.
Pac-Man's fun. I like Pac-Man. I'm not very good at Pac-Man, but I like Pac-Man.
Yeah, it's fun to watch people who are pretty good at it. Because, I'm with you. I tend to eat a few dots and then get eaten by a ghost.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on and talk more high school football. Another big game going on involving an EPAC team, but the game itself will actually not be in the Eastern Panhandle, but the Northern Panhandle. Yeah, the Wheeling Park Patriots will entertain the Musselman-Appleman. Playoff ramifications big time in this one, especially in regards to maybe hosting a playoff game, because Musselman goes in at 6-0. Wheeling Park goes in at 5-1.
It should be a good game. Again, being here, we don't know that much about Wheeling Park. I'm sure you do more than I do. But it's a tough game just based on travel. When you look at the Eastern Panhandle schools, Martinsburg this year had to go to Philadelphia to get a game, but there's not a lot of around-the-state action, or at least not more than 1 or 2 games before you get to the playoffs where you're playing a Wheeling Park or a school like that. So it's interesting to see this matchup that could be a potential playoff matchup depending on how the seeding falls. So it should be an interesting game on Friday night.
And for Musselman, a chance to go play at Wheeling Island Stadium. That is the stadium that hosts the Super Six. That's right. So here's a little taste, fellas, and here's the type of opponent you might see. Wheeling Park won a state championship only a few years back. So we'll see. There is one common opponent. And again, I don't think you read anything into this because Wheeling Park is coming off a 31-0 win against Morgantown last week. But that game was also at Wheeling Island. Musselman 2 weeks ago scored a win at Morgantown, and that was a 13-7 final. So some people may look at that and go, oh, well, that means Wheeling Park is better. I don't look at it that way.
Not so much.
No. Both teams got a win against Morgantown. Is a hard-fought, close win at Morgantown worth more than a blowout type of win hosting Morgantown for Wheeling Park? I don't think either one matters.
Not at the high school level.
No.
It's not. A win's a win at the high school level. Now, whether it was pretty, whether it was a blowout, whether it was a close game, a win's a win at the high school level because traveling and just the way that high school kids' minds work. I mean, their mindset can be totally different depending on what week it is.
Yep.
So a win's a win when it comes to high school football. I expect this to be a game that we expect it to be against a 5-1 team taking on a 6-0 team.
Let's hear from Musselman head coach Brian Thomas. We start our conversation with his thoughts on a 12-7 win against Hedgesville last week.
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, it was a good fought game. I mean, that's kind of what do you expect. I mean, that's kind of what you want, I think, out of a county rivalry game. I mean, you want it to be, I'm sure it's exciting for everybody watching. For me, a little stressful. But, having said that, I was very confident. I had a really good feeling the entire game that we were going to win. And a lot of that's just confidence in our young men. But I had a confidence in our kids that we were going to get the job done.
We talked last week, and you mentioned the skill players that Hedgesville has on offense. How nice was it to be able to hold them to just that one touchdown?
Yeah, I think they only had 4 completions against us, and if I did my numbers right, that's what I counted up. But yeah, 4 completions. Just holding them in check, not get actually most of their. They had a couple big passes on us, but they also had a couple big runs, but they didn't chunk off as many big yards as they usually get, which is a lot of that's just a credit to really the two things, to our defensive staff. My defensive staff, they did an outstanding job of preparing our kids, and also our kids, because us as coaches, we can only give them so much information, and you can tell them as much as you want to tell them, but they have to go out and execute and get the job done. It's really just a credit to our kids, and very confident. Our defensive kids were very, very confident during that game, coming over to the sideline and really well prepared, and almost like they had played the game out in their heads before it actually took place, which really helped.
All right, last week you talked with us about Hedgesville's defense and that they maybe don't get enough credit for how well they play defensively. Talk to us about what you were able to do to kind of grind out a couple of scores to get the win.
Yeah, some of it, we got a lot of faith, and it's been like this ever since I've been at Musselman, but a lot of faith in our offensive line. And that's kind of, to be honest with you, that's kind of my mentality as a coach. I think, you can, anybody can sit there, and I think, the world that we live in, the football world, so to speak, everybody gets, so caught up in stats, and everybody wants to see, teams sling it 50 times. But I'm
my philosophy's always been, if you want to win football games, football hasn't changed. I mean, it has changed a lot, but over the years, you look at all the great teams, and even the NFL's like this. If you can run the football, and if you can play great defense, then you can win games. And I've always really had that mentality. So, coming into the second half, I saw how well our defense was playing. I really wanted to rely on the run game, to grind it out a little bit, and also to keep the ball out of their hands some.
As you just said, while fans might like to see it, you're not going to score 40 or 50 every time out. How good was it to see your guys in a very hard-fought, low-scoring game? You had one similar against Jefferson in the mud earlier this year, pulling out a victory.
Yeah, I mean, even, you mentioned Jefferson and Hedgesville, but even the Morgantown game the week before, we win that one 13-7. Just sometimes, and every team's the same way. You'd like to win every game going away and feel comfortable about it. But at the same time, right now we're getting some battle-tested victories, and we're winning some close games. There's a lot of years that I was here at Musselman that, we probably wouldn't have found a way to win some of these tight games that we've been in. We probably would have found a way to lose it just because it's easy when things get tough, to start arguing or kids not agreeing on stuff. But our kids are doing a great job. I mean, just a great job. When things get tough, they seem to come together a lot more. And, that honestly, we can sit here and talk about the game Friday night for hours, but that was probably the thing that I was most proud of, was just our kids' ability to come together and to get closer together when things were going tough for us.
An unfamiliar opponent this Friday night in Wheeling Park. What do you see in them and just that trip up to the Northern Panhandle?
This is the best team that we've played so far. Without a doubt in my mind, they are good. They are really good. They should be undefeated. They lost to Parkersburg on the last play of the game. They gave up a long touchdown, but they're good. They're very well coached. Very well coached. I mean, they don't do a lot. And they don't give you a lot, but they're very, very good at what they do. We're going to have our hands full offensively. They're going to come right at us, and they're going to pound the football. They rely on their run game, and they do a very good job at running the football. And then defensively, they are very aggressive. Probably the best linebackers that we've seen all year. We're gonna have to get on the bus, take a long trip, and get off that thing and be ready to play a football game, and have to play well, and have to play smart, have to play sound. I mean, we're going to have to play really well to beat these guys.
Well, Coach, we wish you safe travels and all the best, man. Bring home a win.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There we hear from Brian Thomas, head coach of the Musselman Applemen, winners of 22 of their last 28 games. They have played well over the last several seasons, off to a 6-0 start this season, and this would be a big win if they can get this victory at Wheeling Park tomorrow night.
How far do you think they go in the playoffs last year if they get past that first round? Because that was a very, very good Cabell Midland team that I think was better than their seeding may have suggested.
But it's a Cabell Midland team that then lost in that next round as well. So, would Musselman have won that game had they gotten by Cabell Midland? Hard to tell, I guess. But certainly they've got a chance. A win against Wheeling Park is going to...
That's going to go a long way.
Yeah, going to keep them very highly ranked, undefeated at 7-0. They've still got that big matchup with Martinsburg. That'll make that game that much bigger. And, a win or a loss there, obviously a win, and Musselman is in the driver's seat to be able to host a couple of playoff games as long as they can win. A loss still puts them in position to host at least one playoff game. So that they've got a bright future ahead down the stretch of this season.
Some good football around the Panhandle right now.
Yep, being played well. And
3 teams in the top 10 right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
We will take it.
3 teams, 1 county.
Yeah. Game time tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We'll have scoring updates as we bring you Hedgesville and Martinsburg. Coming up, we'll talk who knows what, but it will include Loudoun Valley and Jefferson as they play tomorrow. This is Talk Radio WRNR, Martinsburg, and Miller Time.
Now your local news from Talk Radio WRNR. WVU Medicine and the Wellness Center at Berkeley Medical Center, in conjunction with the Mountain State Apple Harvest Festival Committee, will host the annual Bob Barriner Apple Trample 5K on October the 20th. The race will start at 11 a.m. at the McCormack Center on WVU Medicine Berkeley Medical Center's campus and will end at Coburn Field. Registration information is at appletrample.com. The Martinsburg City Council tonight is scheduled to discuss and possibly act on a request to draft an ordinance allowing residents to have backyard chickens. According to a report in the Herald Mail, a man sent a letter to the city advocating for allowing backyard poultry and gave a list of suggestions for the proposed ordinance. Marlowe Elementary School recently received 2 awards from Berkeley County Relay for Life organizers for their 2017 school fundraising efforts. The school community was honored both for most money raised and for most money raised per capita. I'm Adam Boardman, Talk Radio WRNR News.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
We'll see temperatures quickly heading into the 50s for the late night. Our forecast low at about 55 degrees. Showers will be wrapping up and heading to the east and the northeast, and clouds will be breaking up through the late night into tomorrow. We'll see lots of sunshine coming back. A much cooler day than the last several, with a high of only 61 and a blustery from the northwest. Saturday, variable clouds, upper 50s. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars, too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
It's a death sentence for infants. Tally Sergeant supports abortion right up to the very moment of birth. It's shocking, shameless, and heartless. Tally Sergeant supports abortion on demand with no restrictions at all, even for underage girls. A liberal, pro-abortion extremist, Tally Sergeant's views on abortion are shocking and extreme, and that's why she's wrong for West Virginia.
It's official. West Virginians for Life have endorsed conservative Alex Mooney for Congress. A pro-life champion and family man, Alex Mooney is a leader in the fight to protect the lives of unborn babies. In Congress, conservative Alex Mooney co-sponsored legislation to end taxpayer funding for abortions. The lead sponsor of the Life at Conception Act, Alex Mooney believes all life is God-given. That's why he defends the sanctity of life. Congressman Alex Mooney, working for West Virginia.
I'm Alex Mooney, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mooney for Congress.
Why Apple Valley Chevrolet Toyota in Martinsburg? Because we're a name you can trust. And you can trust that you'll always find a large selection of over 400 new Chevrolets and a wide selection of new Toyotas at unbeatable prices. How unbeatable? Well, we will not be beat on any deal on any new Chevrolet or Toyota. That's right. You will not find a lower price, guaranteed. From Chevy Cruzes, Malibus, Impalas, Equinox, Suburbans, Silverados, to Toyota Yaris, Corollas, Camrys, Avalons, and more. No one beats an Apple Valley Chevrolet Toyota deal. And remember to check your mailbox for this month's specials and great savings. Simply put, if you're in the market or will soon be in the market for a new or newer vehicle, check out all that Apple Valley Chevrolet Toyota has to offer. We're Apple Valley Chevrolet Toyota in Martinsburg, or online at applevalleychevy.com. That's applevalleychevy.com. Apple Valley Chevrolet Toyota, a name you can trust.
We welcome you back in to hour number 2 of Miller Time on this Thursday evening. Matt Miller and Matt Crawford with you until 7 o'clock tonight. Hey, by the way, at 8 o'clock tonight, it is Thursday night football.
Yippee.
Big game from the NFC East.
It's not a big game. There are no big games in the NFC East right now.
Well, there was one on Monday night, and the Redskins didn't do so well. Otherwise, they could have taken kind of some charge, if you will, in the division. That's why you're upset.
Yeah. Although I still...
Even after your time on the couch Tuesday, you're still having remnant effects.
I don't know if I would have rather the Redskins won and then struggled down the stretch like they've done the last couple years, or have the early signs that they're going to be a team that's going to struggle the rest of the year to get wins at this point in the season. You know what I mean? Because the last couple years, they've had somewhat high hopes going into at least early to mid-November, and then haven't even shown up in December. That's been the last 2 years. So I don't know whether I'd rather have that or whether I'd have a team that has struggled 2 out of the first 4 weeks and really has only succeeded in the first half of each of those 2 victories, or whether, and then just know that's what this season's going to be, or is going to be unless there are drastic changes made, or whether I'd have them struggle down the latter part of the season.
Well, but the key is going to be how they do in their own division, which we haven't had a chance to see yet.
Yeah, but what's the point of winning the division if you're barely good enough to win an awful division, and then you get bounced in the first round of the playoffs?
I'd rather
They did that a few years ago.
I'd rather win an awful division and get bounced in the first round than not even be in the playoffs at all. Would you rather be the best of the worst or the worst of the worst?
Best of the worst.
So I'd rather win the division, even though most people go, that's a weak division. Well, we still won it. At least
somebody had to win it.
We weren't the weak of the weak, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd rather be in that position.
But then you just get your heart broken in the first round of the playoffs anyway.
No, because you go in like a real fan, like you did on Monday when you went, I'm cautiously optimistic.
No, because when you get into the playoffs, all bets are off.
Wait, so now the game changes. It does, right? It's the playoffs.
It's
Playoffs. All right, let's preview tonight's game quickly. 8 o'clock, it will come on the air via CBS and Westwood One Radio Sports, and the kickoff right around 8:20. It's the Eagles and the Giants. So we hear from, let's go Eli Manning first, the quarterback for the Giants, who says, obviously, this is a very important game.
A lot of football to be played, a lot of division games to be played, and none bigger than the one we're facing right now and against Philadelphia. So got to be some urgency, and we got to get going, and we got to get hot and get on a streak.
They're not getting on a streak. The Giants are a bad football team. I like Eli's option, but he's kind of I think one of the roots of their problems right now.
They still had a chance to win last week. I mean, come on. Their probability of winning.
Good teams find a way to win games. Bad teams find a way to lose games. They found a way to lose that game, and luck wasn't even on their side because they had a 63-yard field goal kicked against them.
63. Graham Gano. Would have been good from 70.
Oh, that thing cleared the crossbar by 10, 15 feet.
Oh, it was halfway up the uprights practically.
Yep.
So, and the control, because Rob Mario and I can't remember if you were in here when we were talking about it the other day, that the trajectory of the ball is it started to the right and then kind of leveled out. When it first came off his foot, you thought, well, he missed that one wide right. But it kind of hit a course and then stayed that course and got just inside of that right upright. So the Giants have to look at that and go, we were that close to having a victory that would have them, 2-2 instead of 1-3? Is that where they are right now, I believe?
No, they're 1-4.
1-4. That's okay. I'm forgetting the Redskins coming off a bye.
Yes.
They're one game behind. So, that they could have easily been 2-3 then. So, obviously
and tied for second in the division at that point.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
There's still hope. Hang in there.
I don't want to have hope for the Giants. I don't want the Giants to have. I don't want anybody in the division to have hope.
If 2-3 is in the lead right now, that's where you are.
2-3 is not in the lead. 2-3 is second. 2-2 is in the lead.
Oh, so much
There's
better.
There's a whole half game difference there.
Well, hey, it's better to be 500 than below 500, right?
Yes. We've been having this argument in different sports throughout the last month.
All right, let's talk about it with Carson Wentz, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, who says it's not going to be easy against the Giants' defense.
Seems like personnel-wise, seems like we both know each other really well at this point, and with their new scheme, it'll be interesting to see if what they like, what their deal is against us this week. And like I said, I'm sure they'll bring something new that seems like every team's done against us, but we're excited about the matchup.
Well, that's good. You like when your team's excited about a matchup. Glad Carson isn't going into this going, I'm not really looking forward to playing tonight.
I don't think anybody's looking forward to playing tonight, other than the fact that
Thursday night game.
Right.
Who cares?
You have to play. It's next up on your schedule. But I think every one of these guys would say, I'd rather play on Sunday and have a full week to recover and prepare after last week.
I was listening to an interview with the head of the Players Union. Demarius Smith, I believe.
Okay.
His last name's Smith. I think it's Demarius. And apparently one of the big pinpoints on the big board right now for the next CBA.
Collective bargaining agreement, for those that don't know what a CBA is.
No Thursday night football.
Yeah.
Which you expected, I expected.
Yep.
It makes no sense. You talk about player safety, and then you only give them – you don't really give them any time to recuperate.
No.
And then you make them go play out on a stage where you expect it to be the best of the best each week, when really it turns, even when it's good teams out there playing, it turns into a game where you're going, man, this is prime time?
Right.
This is how I want to start my NFL weekend? And it's awful. Awful, I tell you. But yeah, apparently that's one of the big pinpoints on the bulletin board.
Not surprised at all. And the league has to look at it. The owners have to look at it and go, you're right. I mean, I can't see how this would cost them any money. You know, I mean, maybe it costs them a little because of the primetime deal, whatever television money is coming in specifically for Thursday night. Are the ratings that good on Thursday night? Being one that doesn't have a TV, I don't ever watch a Thursday night game.
Well, up until this year, I don't even think it's every single game I don't think every single game is on a station that you get normally. Well, I know up until this year it was, or it may have been the beginning part of last year, it was only on NFL Network.
Right.
And that's a package you have to buy.
And
so
that was, I think, part of the NFL's thought and plan. We're popular enough that we can do this, and people will buy the plan just to see the crappy Thursday night game. And I don't think it works.
I know now there's a partnership with Fox where I don't know if it's every single game or if it's certain games are televised on Fox along with NFL Network, but the ratings can't be that good.
No.
Because it's on a night during the week. Unless it's a amazing matchup on Monday Night Football now, I got to think Monday Night Football ratings are down. I mean, ratings are down all across the country for NFL football on Sunday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday.
The big thing is Thursday you got competition because isn't there usually some kind of college football most Thursday nights?
Not competitive college football.
Well, but still, ESPN, ESPN2, some other Fox Sports 1, whatever other channel is probably showing some kind of college football on a Thursday night. Hey, in a couple of weeks, West Virginia Mountaineers and Baylor are going to play on a Thursday night. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Tell me how many TV sets in the state of West Virginia are going to go from that game to say, hey, at 8 o'clock, let's go over and watch New England and Jacksonville or something.
All right. If you were flipping through your TV, and this is a big market, and for this conference, you're going to have a lot of interest, since the NFL teams in this conference market aren't going to have a big audience. If you're scrolling through the TV tonight, and at 7:30, Texas Tech is at TCU, or the Eagles and Giants are playing, unless you're in New York or in Philadelphia, or just a diehard NFL fan, not a diehard college fan, if you're in Texas, if you're a Big 12 fan, if you're as equal a college fan as you are an NFL fan, you're at least giving this 50-50.
I was going to say, you're going back and forth probably.
I think in this area, or maybe not necessarily in this area, but looking at the state of West Virginia, this is a matchup in college football that you're looking at going, this matters for the Mountaineers.
I was going to say, even in this area, because it's a Big 12 game, because it does matter to West Virginia.
And you look at anywhere in the Big 12, which ranges a lot of the middle part of the country and more towards the East Coast. Are you watching the Giants and Eagles? Are you watching the 1-4 Giants playing the 2-3 Eagles? Or are you watching a Texas Tech TCU game on primetime on ESPN?
If I have TV, I'm going back and forth. Obviously, I'm starting with the college game.
Still, that's not the NFL getting 100% of the attention like they do on a Monday Night Football.
Right.
And in case you care, Tuesday night, Appalachian State beat Arkansas State. Because apparently they're playing games on Tuesdays now.
And had to have been on a TV network somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, so I agree that you're going to have battles when it comes to college football and NFL football.
The new collective bargaining agreement, 2020, I believe, for the NFL, when they'll have to begin to hash that out again. It expires at the end of next year.
Yes.
Another good note about tonight's game for the Philadelphia Eagles, former Shepherd University Ram Trey Sullivan is back on the active 53-man roster. So we'll see him on the field tonight for the Eagles. Got to play in week 1 of the season, was in there on 40. What I read an article said 40-some% of special teams plays.
Yes.
So hopefully he'll be back out there not only for special teams, but maybe out there as a safety as well. So keep an eye out for Trey Sullivan for the Eagles as you watch the game tonight between the Eagles and the Giants.
Let's get back into high school football after this break.
Sounds good.
Sound good to you, man?
You got it. Loudoun Valley and Jefferson, the other matchup that we have yet to talk about. And we need to hear from Spring Mills and Washington's coaches. Despite the fact that they're on a bye this week, we'll get an idea what they're doing this week in preparation for when they get back on the field next Friday. All right, all of that and more coming up on Miller Time.
James Dean, I know just what you mean.
French Greenback for Panhandle Printing and Design with the story of Billy Bennington. Billy wanted a new best friend, so he brought home a puppy. He didn't know his new best friend would keep him up at night. Now Spot isn't a puppy anymore. After almost a year of sleepless nights, Billy doesn't think of Spot as his best friend. That's when he turned to this intrepid reporter for Panhandle Printing and Design to help. I know if you need help with everything from design to production of stationery, envelopes, business cards, invitations, vinyl signs, banners, vehicle wrap, and more, your one-stop print shop, Panhandle Printing and Design, can help. They have something for everyone at Panhandle Printing and Design at 124 North Maple Avenue in Martinsburg. Call 304-267-7400, and you can even find them online, too. Here you go, Spot. Fetch. Well, Billy might have a few more sleepless nights, but don't stay up nights worrying about your printing needs. Depend on Panhandle Printing and Design.
Mountaineer defensive coordinator Tony Gibson has questions. Iowa State has the answers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics.
When you order your groceries online at Kroger.com or with the Kroger app, you can do your shopping anytime, anywhere, like the gym, the office, or your favorite comfy couch. Plus, when you visit Kroger.com, you can find hundreds of money-saving digital coupons. And whether you place your order on your phone, tablet, or computer, it's still your neighborhood Kroger. So you'll find all the fresh choices, low prices, and great deals you love. And once you've selected your coupons and finished your shopping, you choose a pickup time that fits your schedule. And relax while your order is hand-picked, just the way you like it. Then all you have to do is hop in the car and drive to the store's pickup location. And a friendly Kroger associate will load your specially picked order for you. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. It's so convenient. Save time. Shop online today at Kroger.com.
Mountaineer defensive coordinator Tony Gibson has a quandary. Number one, how many quarterbacks will Iowa State use on Saturday night, and which ones will they use? Brock Purdy, a true freshman, came off the bench on Saturday and led his team to a victory at Oklahoma State. Kyle Kemp, a six-year senior, has been on the side, but he may play this week. Gibson says getting ready for Purdy offers a different set of challenges.
We have to be worried about quarterback run game with Purdy, so we're going to have to do our due diligence with that. Kemp, he's not much of a runner. He doesn't like to run, I should say. He will pull his own read, or they ran Q power with him last year a few times, but that's not his forte. So we just have to, and it's really nothing different. We've had to do this, a few times this year already. So the only time we didn't do it was at Texas Tech, and it came back to bite us after their quarterback went out. So we'll continue just to keep working, do what we do, and get our guys prepared.
Gibby adds that at safety, it looks as though Derek Pitts is more comfortable, which means even if Toya Avery plays this week, both players will see action.
If they're both healthy, we're going to use both of them, just so we don't run into the same situation we've been in where one guy's playing and he goes down, play 40 or 50, and we have to move another guy in and start moving pieces. So the good thing about Pitts, and we knew that, he's a versatile guy that's played both, and right now we'll concentrate on more of him at safety right now.
That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from IMG.
After removing your creme brulee from the oven, your dessert should look just scrumptious. Now sprinkle with some sugar. And use your torch to braise it to a golden, crispy brown.
Disasters happen. Fire, water, and natural disasters. Tell your insurance provider you prefer Blue Ridge Property Restore. Blue Ridge Property Restore, getting you back from disaster faster.
Join us next week when we tackle Baked Alaska.
It's that time of year again, the 39th Annual Mountain State Apple Harvest Festival, October 18th through the 21st. Enjoy the apple pie baking contest and auction, along with a quilt raffle at the Berkeley County Youth Fairgrounds, the coronation of Queen Pomona at Martinsburg High School Auditorium, and the Queen's Reception and Grand Ball at the Holiday Inn Friday, October 19th. The Bob Elmer Celebrity Sports Breakfast is Saturday, October 20th at 8:30 a.m. at the Holiday Inn. For more information and a schedule of events, go online to msahf.com. We welcome you back into Miller Time on this Thursday evening. 21 minutes after 6 o'clock. With you till 7, then it's NBC Sports Radio, and then off to the NFL on Thursday night.
I get it's raining. We talk about how dark it is for 6/21. Fall is a-coming. I mean, it's here, but
Just
really,
wait.
it's supposed to get cold tonight.
I think it's the first week of November is when the time change goes back to...
Hey, we get another hour of sleep.
Yeah, but that means it's going to be dark before our show starts as opposed to dark when we're getting done.
How much you really do outside after the show anyway? Not a whole lot.
Over the course of the summer, I mean, you know, it's like until 9, so I can go home and do all kinds of stuff.
The weather's nice, and although I do enjoy the weather coming up.
I was going to say.
The 50s and 60s where he can wear a long sleeve shirt and shorts, or it's not quite winter cold yet, but
yeah,
it's getting there.
And it looks like it's going to be very nice for high school football tomorrow, although dress warmly because it's going to be a little breezy. And Bob Kukin is saying game time temperatures could end up in the 50s with the high tomorrow only in the low 60s. So, hey, finally football weather.
So I was going to say, it's actual football. And even the last couple days, it's been warm but not humid.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a nice upper 70s.
Hey, let's preview the Loudoun Valley at Jefferson matchup. A game between two teams still looking to pick up their first win. The Vikings 0-5 on the season. A little familiar with them as they opened their year against Martinsburg. It did not go well as Martinsburg got the lopsided victory. Loudoun Valley coming off a 28-0 loss at Loudoun County last week. Meanwhile, Jefferson at 0-6. They lost at Spring Mills last week, 52-22, the final. A bit surprised by the wide margin there.
Yeah, you and I were talking last week, and while Spring Mills was still favored in that game, and Benny thought Spring Mills would win, you and I, or at least I thought, and I believe you shared the same views, you and I thought that Jefferson was going to be competitive in this game. The way that Spring Mills had played the couple of weeks before the game last Friday, it just looked, and Jefferson coming off the bye week and had been competitive, it just looked like that may have been one of those games that Jefferson could have gone out and stole that game, but it did not happen. Spring Mills got a big win, but this week another opportunity for the Cougars to get in the win column.
Let's hear from head coach Craig Hunter. Some thoughts on what happened last week against Spring Mills.
You know, I just thought we just didn't, as a whole team-wise effort, probably even us included as coaches, we just probably didn't execute the game plan that we had set forth. Offensively and defensively, we just didn't execute the game plan that we had set forth for that team.
How much of that was just your team and or, you know, the program as a whole not executing? How much of that was what Spring Mills did to maybe force you out of those things?
I don't think any of it was anything that they did, really. I mean, we knew what they were going to do. They didn't do anything different than what we thought they were going to do. I just think we probably didn't execute. We didn't execute well enough on our behalf. You know, when you come out the gates and you're down 17-0, you know, your game plan just kind of skewed a little bit, you know.
I know those kind of losses are never easy and always frustrating, but is it a little more frustrating knowing that it came after a bye week?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is a little bit more frustrating after a bye week because, you know, we thought we had everything settled, what we wanted to do. We knew what we wanted to do, and, you know, you come out and, like I said, they hit you with a big play. You get a snap over the punter's head in the end zone. then the next thing you know, you get a drop snap from your punter. Things that happen like that. You just can't. And you're down 17-0, and then your game plan's kind of skewed a little bit because you can't do what you want to do because now you're trying to get back in the game. You've got time to get back in the game. You're trying to figure out a way to try to get back in the game so the kids don't feel a certain way that they can't get back in the game as you keep going.
When you look at this week, you're home for a matchup against Loudoun Valley. The Vikings are going through a tough season as well. What do you see in the matchup?
They don't do a lot of I haven't seen them do a lot of prolific stuff on offense. Their defense will get after you. They'll do a lot of different things defensively. They'll give you a lot of different schemes defensively. They don't sit in one defense, so you can't get a beat on it. A lot of blitzing coming from different places. So we just got to know where the blitz is coming from and be able to pinpoint that. And, my cue to the kids this week was make sure that we don't get confused, stay with your blocking rules, and, stay true to it. Stay true to your blocking rules. They should be fine. Find the blitz and stay true to your blocking rules.
This starts a string of games at home. How good is it to be back in Shenandoah Junction?
Well, it's good. It's good to not be on the road, that's for sure. That's for sure. But, we'll see how good it is. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully, our fans will come out and help support us a little bit, and hopefully we can get one this week.
Coach, we wish you all the best. We'll talk again next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
And there you hear from Jefferson Cougars head coach Craig Hunter as his team gets ready to host the Loudoun Valley Vikings. All right, Matt, here's the reason I think Jefferson comes out on top in this game, and it's just looking a little comparison at how the two teams have fared so far this year. Loudoun Valley at 0-5 has lost on average 45-8. They have really struggled to score, and obviously giving up 45 haven't stopped too many teams either. Jefferson has lost by an average score of 36-14. Not quite as bad defensively, but they've scored on average of at least 2 touchdowns per game, and they've had several games where they scored clearly more than 20. And I think hopefully Jefferson can get that offense going enough that they can get a win against Loudoun Valley.
Now, you'll know this answer better than I do because you've seen Loudoun Valley the last 2 years with Martinsburg. Were they a senior-heavy team last year?
Last year,
looking at this matchup last year, Loudoun Valley won 49-6. Doesn't seem like a struggling team coming out and scoring 49 points.
No, that last year was a little bit of a different animal. They did have a little more senior-laden team. I don't believe that they had their starting quarterback back by the time they played Jefferson, but I'm not sure because when they opened against Martinsburg, they ended up running a single wing. That wasn't something they had planned to do going into the season, but did that because they just felt like they didn't have what they needed at quarterback. So we'll see how this one plays out. Loudoun Valley and Jefferson both have gone through some struggles. For Jefferson, though, they need a win. They have now dropped 17 in a row after last week's game.
All right, we've now previewed all the matchups. So we've got 2 coaches to talk to that are on bye. But with just about a minute left, we have to take a break. Intriguing matchups this week. Which one piques your interest the most?
Out of the 3 that we have discussed?
Out of the 3, Loudoun Valley at Jefferson, Musselman at Wheeling Park, and Hedgesville at Martinsburg. Obviously, you'll be at the Martinsburg game, so that one is going to draw the most of your attention. But which one of those 3 piques your interest the most?
I think Musselman at Wheeling Park has to be the one. I mean, Martinsburg has won 21 straight in the series against Hedgesville. And while I think this will be a closer game than it was a year ago,
it can't be much more lopsided than it was here.
I'm still just not sure that Hedgesville is going to have what it takes to get over the top against the Bulldogs. Musselman and Wheeling Park, this could go either way. I'm really anxious to see how Musselman does on the road. They've played some tight, tough games, including that win at Morgantown, that I think has this team probably more mentally prepared. And, Coach Thomas and his staff will have them physically prepared. I think Musselman can go in and get this win.
And you look at it's not just that win, the tight win against Morgantown. They're coming off another tight game against Hedgesville. So they've played tight games. They've played games against good opponents this year. So, yeah, I agree with you. When it comes to the games tomorrow night, I think Musselman at Wheeling Park is definitely the game in the Panhandle, or the game of most interest in the Panhandle.
We'll have scoring updates of that one along with Loudoun Valley at Jefferson. We bring you Hedgesville at Martinsburg at 7, pregame at 6. Miller time begins at 5. Stay with us. We've got more Miller time coming up after this.
WVU Medicine is pleased to announce the addition of orthopedic surgeon Dr. Craig Clark to the Jefferson Medical Center staff and WVU Medicine Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Dr. Clark joins Dr. Bradford Wright and the team at WVU Medicine Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, offering leading-edge, full-service orthopedic care. Both board-certified orthopedic surgeons specialize in total joint replacements and general orthopedics, as well as sports medicine. For more info, call WVU Medicine Orthopedics and Sports Medicine at 304-725-2663.
Who to vote for? The Eastern Panhandle Business Association endorses Tom Bibby for House of Delegates, 62nd District. The EPBA endorses candidates who favor a sensible free enterprise agenda, and Tom Bibby fits the bill. The EPBA was impressed with what Tom Bibby had to say during the EPBA's candidate forum and by answers he provided in his candidate questionnaire. Tom Bibby favors continued reforms in education, taxes, government operation, and the legal system that move West Virginia on the path to prosperity. Vote for Tom Bibby for House of Delegates. Paid for by EPBA PAC.
CBS News update. Stocks swooned for the second day in a row. The Dow plunged nearly 550 points for a two-day drop of nearly 1,400.
Markets have been concerned over the last several weeks and certainly over the last couple of days about things like inflation and higher interest rates. The selling process really kicked into high gear yesterday. And when you go through a corrective process like this, it usually takes 3 days to wash out. We're in day 2 of that.
Market strategist Art Hogan says one sector's taking it on the chin.
We've seen technology get hit the hardest. Now, understanding technology was up the most this year and certainly over the last 2 years. It's not surprising to see that come in the most.
NASDAQ fell 93 today, and the broader S&P index was off 57. David Nicholas of Nicholas Wealth Management believes corporate earnings reports will help calm investor jitters.
I feel we should see some very strong earnings that should be a positive for the market, and hopefully that will help overcome some of the volatility that we're seeing.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Local forecast. Weatherman Bob Kukin.
There's nothing wishy-washy about the next cool air mass that's coming in from the northwest overnight. Temperatures are going to drop, and they're going to keep on dropping. Mid-50s, the low for the morning and for the daytime on Friday. Even when sunshine comes back for the day, it'll be gusty and blustery from the northwest, and we see highs of only 61 degrees. Lows mid-40s Friday night. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
In whatever you do, it's good to go the extra mile. But when we go to Antwerp, Belgium to buy a diamond for you, we go the extra 7,982 miles, the distance from here to Antwerp. And when you see your new diamond, the sparkle in your eyes will tell us it was worth it to go the distance. Hi, I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. Dave and I are leaving soon on a diamond buying trip. And here's what going the extra 7,982 miles means for you. A more beautiful diamond than you thought possible for your money. Antwerp is the diamond capital of the world. We work directly with the men and women who buy and cut the diamonds. We personally inspect thousands of diamonds to pick only the best out of each parcel. And believe me, we reject hundreds of diamonds for each one we buy. Would you like to own a diamond that will blow by other diamonds in a flash? We're ready to go the extra 7,982 miles for you. See us at Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 south of 51 in Inwood.
Smith-Nadenbush is an independent insurance agency. You see, there's an important difference between Smith-Nadenbush and agents who work just for one company. Working for one company, they can only sell the products of that company. On the other hand, Smith-Nadenbush can design a program just for you, your family, or your business, and at the right cost. Smith-Nadenbush. Martinsburg, Charlestown, and Berkeley Springs.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
In desperation of a victory, the Eagles visit the Giants tonight, 8:20 Eastern. New York just 1-4 on the year. Philly just 2-3, both coming off heartbreaking losses last week. What we know, Jay Ajayi not going to be available for Philly. Looks like he's done for the season, put on the IR. Corey Clement now looks like he will play tonight. Still no word on offensive lineman Lane Johnson. Good news in Green Bay. Geronimo Allison cleared of the concussion protocol. The bad, though, now he's dealing with a hamstring issue. Same going on with Randall Cobb. Neither of them were able to be full participants at practice today. Speaking of full participant, Panthers tight end Greg Olsen was there practicing and now trending towards playing for the first time since week number 1. 12 hockey games tonight, 3 NBA preseason games. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
EPTA invites you to take advantage of their rider programs, the $5 all-day pass, the monthly pass, and the Get a Job, Get a Ride program. Visit EPTAWV.com for further details and come ride with us. This message brought to you by EPTA, the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority. For schedules and rider information, visit EPTAWV.com. EPTA serves Berkeley and Jefferson counties.
Take the bus, come ride with us.
Hi, Mark Vaught, the founder of Operation KidSafe. We have safeguarded over 1 million children. On Saturday, October 20th, from 9 to 3, the Miller Honda team will be offering free Amber Alert safety forms from Operation KidSafe. The parents take home the only record of the visit, and it's ready for law enforcement in case of a family emergency. Fun, safety, and refreshments, all at Miller Honda, 3985 Valley Pike in Winchester. For more info, go to mymillerhonda.com or their Facebook page.
And we welcome you
back. You done banging on the table over there?
I was trying to do my best drumming along with the music.
You always tell me not to hit the table.
That was drumming. That wasn't like hitting the table. That wasn't. No. It wasn't like a rant where you're going off on the Redskins.
I've only done that once where I've actually smacked the table. I was so angry.
Right. That this was a playful drum playing type of tap on the table.
I try not to hit things all that often. You, on the other hand.
Hey, let's go to the bye weeks for a pair of local teams, Spring Mills and Washington. Let's start with the Cardinals, who are coming off that big win against Jefferson last week, 52-22. That snapped a 3-game slide for Spring Mills and got them back into the win column now at 3-4. And with a bye, they come out against Mountain Ridge. They still have Hedgesville on the schedule. They still are in a position where they might be able, if they can win out, go 6-4 and still be right there in that playoff picture. And even if they lose one, right now at 5-5.
There were two teams that were 4-6 last year that made the playoffs.
Right.
So they're still very much in the playoff hunt.
Well, we caught up with Chad Williams, talked with him about the win against Jefferson and then about the bye week.
Boy, it felt good. You know, you lose 3 weeks in a row, and, you know, to me, I guess the feeling is, I hate to lose a lot more than I love to win, and just to not have to deal with that feeling all weekend again, and actually, you know, get to enjoy myself for a weekend. Weekend was nice, especially heading into the bye week, knowing I don't have to go with 2 weeks with that taste in my mouth.
Going into that bye week, it's got to be nice to be coming off with a win and knowing that your offense came out and played extremely well, putting up 52 points.
Yeah, you know, offense played well. You know, I thought the defense played pretty well. You know, really, only one touchdown scored with all our starters still in the game. You know, a couple late ones tacked on there at the end, you know, to get them up to 22. But, you know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, with the starting unit, you know, we held them to 9 points. We managed to put up 52 in a little under 3 quarters of action. Yeah, you know, I felt like everything really clicked for us for the first time this year, probably Friday night. And, you know, and that's definitely good as you go into this bye week where we've got 2 weeks to figure out how to keep that clicking and maybe get some other things added in.
During a bye, this always creates an opportunity for some self-evaluation with that extra time. 3 wins, 4 losses through 7 games. While the record may not be where you would like it to be, how do you kind of evaluate where you are at this point of the season?
You know, I think we kind of laid a challenge out to them at the beginning of the week last week, and sitting at 2-4. You know, it's been a long time since I've been around, you know, losing 4 games in the regular season. So, you know, it was starting to wear on me a little bit, and kind of laid out a challenge to the guys like, hey, you know, it's time to either turn this around and right the ship, or we're just going to be miserable through this bye week. And I think they started to do that last week. I really do. I think the kids responded well. You know, so now as we evaluate where we are going forward, you know, we're still in a position where
every week's like a playoff game for us. I think, we all know that we need to win out through the regular season to have any chance of accomplishing the goals that we set out for this year. But even more than that, I just want to see us have more weeks like we did last week in the way we practice and continuing to work a little bit harder as a team and be a little bit more disciplined in everything we do. And, we finally saw some of that. So more than anything, I'm just hoping we can keep that going.
With you talking about needing to win out and the timing of this bye week, do you have any injuries going into this bye week, or is it just going to be business as usual for 2 weeks?
No, actually, right now, I think we're pretty healthy. Of course, after 7 straight weeks of football, we've got some bumps and bruises here and there, and we gave them yesterday off, let them enjoy a 3-day weekend. I told them that'll be their last day off they'll have this year. So hopefully they healed up a little bit, and they're on their way back in about 10 minutes to start practice today. And as far as I know, we should be full go, full steam ahead.
Do you like the bye week at this particular moment in time?
I do, actually. I've always been a fan of a bye week a little bit later in the season. I guess in past years more so to get healthy and gear up for that playoff run. But right now I think it comes at a good time for us because it's a time where we can gear up and get ready for this stretch run of these last 3 games. And and it really couldn't come at a better time for us as far as the way we practiced and played last week, because now we have some positives to build upon. We've seen some positive results finally, and we know what it takes and how we need to practice going forward.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. Thanks for your time, and we'll look forward to talking again next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me, man.
And there we hear from Chad Williams, head coach of the Spring Mills Cardinals. Next up for them, the Miners of Mountain Ridge, and that will be next week. That leads us to the Washington Patriots. The Patriots coming off of their 7th loss to start the season, 0-7, but got some offense going in the game against Frankfurt. They had scored 28 points total through their prior 6 games, did put 37 on the board against the Falcons, but just could not slow down Frankfurt as the Frankfurt Falcons get the win 62-37 last week.
Not the way I was expecting that game to go, especially after looking at Frankfurt came in good. They were 5-1 going into that game, but still, you look at how much could a team possibly improve that drastically from the year before. And that's what I was looking at. And when Washington had several different leads throughout that game, I really thought that was going to be the week. Similar to how they did last year, the Frankfurt game is going to be the game that turned their season around, and maybe they could end up scraping a couple wins here and there throughout the end of the season. But they just didn't have the stamina to do it for an entire game. So maybe this bye week coming at a good time.
And I think what you said is key, the stamina to do it. Remember, this is a young football team.
And there aren't a lot of numbers to this football team.
Ding, 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 ding. There you go. Not a lot of players, so a lot of guys are going both ways. So the stamina maybe not there, as you said, to get that win. Well, let's find out from head coach Glenn Simpson and get his thoughts on last week's loss and the bye week.
Oh, it was a great effort. We knew it was going to take a great effort to compete with Frankfurt. They've only had 1 loss on the season, a very tightly contested game. And I knew that coming in, we had kind of chilled their homecoming a little bit last year with very much a similar type game, and they were coming in for our homecoming this year. So I knew it was going to be a hard-fought game, and our boys really did respond well. They fought hard and did a really good job.
A couple of different times throughout that game, you guys actually had the lead. How nice is that to be able to look back on, look at the film and say, guys, we're able to get the lead a couple different times in this game. We are capable of putting together good drives and winning games the rest of the season.
Well, what it does is it gives us, gives those young men confidence that, we can play the game a little bit. We can go out there and we can execute, and, we got a good game plan. We go out there and we work hard during the week, and we play hard on the weekend, and we execute. We can play this game. So from a confidence standpoint, both for the players and the coaches was really much needed.
Does that make this a good game to have played going into the bye week then, because of those positives that you can kind of dwell on during this time off?
Well, yes, we can look at the positives and acknowledge them and build off of them. And I think it kind of energized our guys to really focus in and on the days during the bye week where we are practicing. I know that already this week their attention has been, through the roof. So it's their attention and their excitement. So it's good to see.
In this bye week, will you guys look at Musselman at all, or is it just going to be working on your game and getting guys healthy?
Well, the coaches have been looking at Musselman for some time now, but we will. Our players are enjoying a little bit of a rest here in this bye week, working on fundamentals, and again, accentuating the things that we did positively in the Frankfurt game last week, and trying to build off those things. And then we'll get more game plan specific at the beginning of next week.
Well, Coach, thank you for your time. Enjoy the week off, and we'll talk next week.
Thank you very much.
Glenn Simpson, head coach of the Washington Patriots. They are on a bye this week, and then a tough one at Musselman next week.
Doesn't get any easier after the bye week.
No, it certainly does not. Musselman, a big game at Wheeling Park coming up tomorrow night. All right, we have previewed each of the high school football matchups for tomorrow.
Take a breath. It's only 6 coaches in an hour and a half.
We did well.
We did.
And we even have time to do what we thought we might do.
Talk some Mountaineer football?
There you go. Let's do that. I think we still need to recap a Capitals win last night,
we
too.
Do. Who knows what we'll get into coming up next.
At least those 2 things.
I mean, maybe more, maybe less. You never know.
There might still be a rant in there somewhere.
We get sidetracked often. I don't know if anybody's noticed that before, but it could be something completely different than the Capitals or the Mountaineers.
No.
Just stay tuned and you'll find out.
Sounds good.
We'll be back for more Miller Time after this.
I was working on the lab.
It's a death sentence for infants. Tally Sergeant supports abortion right up to the very moment of birth. It's shocking, shameless, and heartless. Tally Sergeant supports abortion on demand with no restrictions at all, even for underage girls. A liberal, pro-abortion extremist, Tally Sergeant's views on abortion are shocking and extreme. And that's why she's wrong for West Virginia.
It's official. West Virginians for Life have endorsed conservative Alex Mooney for Congress. A pro-life champion and family man, Alex Mooney is a leader in the fight to protect the lives of unborn babies. In Congress, conservative Alex Mooney co-sponsored legislation to end taxpayer funding for abortions. The lead sponsor of the Life at Conception Act, Alex Mooney believes all life is God-given. That's why he defends the sanctity of life. Congressman Alex Mooney, working for West Virginia.
I'm Alex Mooney, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Mooney for Congress.
The Dillon Farm Museum presents the Fall Festival this Saturday and Sunday. Come out and enjoy their famous bean soup, demonstrations, exhibits, music, and concessions. Plenty to see and do for all ages. Activities run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days. Visit the blacksmith shop, the woodworking shop, and sawmill. Watch as apple butter and apple cider are made right there, and buy a jug to take home with you. It's all at the Dillon Farm Museum on Route 9 West, across from Hedgesville High School.
Hello, racing fans. Get set for the best of thoroughbred racing action Saturday, October 13th at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. West Virginia Breeders' Classic 32 features local favorites vying for a year-end championship. Bring your family and friends for an exciting night of gaming, fine dining, and 9 action-packed races for West Virginia-owned, bred, and trained thoroughbreds. Post time is 7 p.m. at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. That's Saturday, October 13th. Make your plans now.
And they're off in the West Virginia Breeders' Classic.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelly Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for information.
Since 1877, Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies have proudly supported our local community. Farmers and Mechanics has the insurance products to meet your needs, including home, auto, farm, dwelling fire, business owners, and umbrella coverage. Please contact your local independent agency for a review of your insurance needs and ask for a policy from the company that knows you best. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, just off Edwin Miller Boulevard on Administrative Drive in Martinsburg. FMIWV.com.
Burke, Schultz, Harmon, and Jenkinson. We're accident, injury, and disability lawyers with over 120 years combined trial experience. When you owe an insurance company money, they want to be paid right away. When an insurance company owes you money, that's a different story, isn't it? At Burke, Schultz, Harmon, and Jenkinson, we devote ourselves to making that story turn out in your favor. We play hardball. Injured in a car wreck? Call for a free consultation. Call us at 304-LAWYERS or 304-263-0900.
We're back again on Miller Time, final segment of tonight's program.
These 2 hours are becoming a breeze.
Okay, I'm not going that far yet.
Get pretty good at them.
For you young guys, you know, it's a breeze. Us older guys, we still got to have the stamina to get through these final 8.5 minutes.
I wonder if you would use that word again.
Stamina?
Yeah.
Or old guy?
Both.
I was going to say, I don't think I've used old guy yet. All right, before we jump back into the Mountaineers and talk a little college football, as we teased going into the break, we had also teased the Washington Capitals. Big win last night.
It was. It was the first game that the Capitals had played a game that was very realistic of a hockey game. Game 1 against Boston, they came out and everything was going in. Tuukka Rask looked awful for the Bruins between the pipes. Then they had the shootout with Pittsburgh that was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, went into overtime and had about 14 goals. That's not realistic.
I think it was 13. Wasn't it 7-6?
Yeah, it was 7-6 in overtime. And see, now you got me messed up talking about math. And then last night they have a game that was 5-2 final, but those last couple goals came on late. TJ Oshie had a goal with about 1:52 left. And it was a very tight game throughout. So
yeah, they took the early 2-0 lead.
And then it was a back-and-forth bat where Vegas didn't let it get bigger than 2, but also would keep it within 1 most of the second period into the third period. So it was a very realistic hockey game, I think is the best way to put it. And the Capitals ended up doing what they do and having a quick strike offense and able to win the game.
All right, let's hear quickly from Nick Backstrom. We got 2 cuts from him following last night's game. This first one, I believe, is the one that, if I put him in the right order, he specifically was asked about this team and, whether the way they've started, I guess, does away with the idea that they have a hangover as Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, we were. But, I feel like we'll keep going at the same time, the same way as we finish, I think. So we play with a big confidence, I think, at the end of the season. So just trying to build off that.
So no hangover, just trying to build off of what they did last year. And so far
they are.
Good start.
Yeah, 5 points through 3 games.
Well, part of that start was their power play. That was very strong last night, and that
power play's been strong for the last 8 years.
Yeah, well, and that's what Nick Backstrom talks about in this comment.
We're starting off good, but the thing is, too, we want to develop our power play. We want to get better for every day. I think that's why we have been successful for many years. So, if we can keep doing that, coming up with new ideas and stuff like that, I think it would be great.
So you got to like the idea they're already pretty darn good at the power play, and he's going, we got to tweak it and get better.
And there was a record set last night. Not really a record, but one more notch up the ladder for Alex Ovechkin. He is now 17th all-time in goals with 2 he had last night. So 17th all-time when it comes to goals.
How much longer is he playing?
I mean, if he plays like this, who knows?
3?
At a high level, I think he probably has 2 or 3 more years at a high level. He'll probably play for another 3 to 4, maybe 5 max.
Can he get to number 1?
No. I don't think he gets to number 1.
Top 5?
Maybe top. He definitely gets into top 10.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't. That's so hard to imagine him.
Yeah.
Getting up there. I mean, looking at goals right now, he has 611. He's not getting number 1. Gretzky's got 894. Gordie Howe has 801. Yager's got 766. So, I don't know. I think with 611, getting into the top 10 means he's got to surpass Mario Lemieux at 690. So that's 79 goals. So I think that's realistic for him to get into, especially, I mean, if it's a 50-goal year this year, that's easy money. But so he may get into the top 5. He's got to have 731. That's a steep hill to climb.
Capitals, after last week, played a back-to-back, and then, 5 straight days off, playing on day 6. It's a back-to-back again as they got the win last night at home against Vegas. Now tonight, they're playing the New Jersey Devils. That game in New Jersey. They'll drop the puck at 7. We won't be able to have the coverage here like we did last night as we bring you the NFL and Thursday night football. All right, let's quickly jump into college football. We mentioned number 6 WVU on the road at Iowa State. This is a tough game. The Cyclones are just 2-3, 1-2 in the league, but they're coming off a win at Oklahoma State, 48-42.
Yeah, and this is a game. Iowa State's always an interesting team, or at least they have been in recent years, because they have the ability that they come into certain games, like the game where they just went down to Oklahoma State and got a win, where you look at them and go, that's a good football team. Then they have games where they really just can't put anything together, so you don't really know what Iowa State teams you're going to get week in and week out, which is what makes these games so difficult every year.
They only lost by 10 against Oklahoma earlier in the year as well, 37-27. So they're a tough out. Do we have time to hear from Gibby?
We always got time to hear from Gibby.
Let's do it. The defensive coordinator for the Mountaineers, Tony Gibson, talking about facing Iowa State.
I guess the disadvantage we have this week is Iowa State does a lot of the same stuff we do. So there's a lot of carryover that this kid's probably practiced against all camp, and I don't know if he'll be fazed by that. He seems like he's, that he knows what he's looking at and knows what to do with the football. So just watching him against Oklahoma State last week, he was he made some plays and then made them go.
Mike mentioned this. Oklahoma State has followed the last 3 teams you played. Does that give you any ideas on how they're going to attack things?
Not really. They're so different defensively. They play a lot of man, a lot of quarters, so it really doesn't help us. Obviously, you get to see a little bit of the scheme. They went to a little bit of 3 down at times, but we reference a lot off of a year ago, playing against these guys for the last couple of years. And then we look at some other things. Akron jumped in and out of some odd, and Okie State did as well, but their base stuff is 4 down quarters, playing a lot of different coverages. Not really. And that's what's so different with us, and we're used to it at this point. 2-3 series in, we're going to learn how people want to attack us. A few years ago, they were going formation into the boundary. So obviously we're going to work a lot of that. But there's just so many different deals, and there may be a whole new package this week with their quarterback. Now they have that much confidence in him. I'm sure their run game is going to expand with him, and especially if the other quarterbacks are healthy and they can use him. So we'll see.
It'll be a tough test for the Mountaineers on Saturday. Game time, 7 p.m. The pregame from IMG right here at 3:30. Also Saturday, Fairmont State is at Shepherd. Rutgers is at Maryland. More on those games and the college scene coming up tomorrow. We've got less than a minute. We got some breaking news.
Regional soccer when it comes to Eastern Panhandle High School. The seedings were announced today, and they're identical in girls and guys soccer. So we're going to go just with one because they're identical. The number 1 seed is Hedgesville on both sides. They'll have the 4 seed Spring Mills. Girls will play at 5:30 On Thursday, boys will play at 7:30. 2-seed, 3-seed game. Martinsburg is the 2-seed. Musselman is the 3-seed again. Girls play at 5:30, and boys play at 7:30. Again, that is on Thursday, the 18th.
Thanks to Steve Campbell, athletic director at Musselman, for passing along that information. And we'll see what we can do to follow the soccer playoffs and maybe get a chance to talk with some of the coaches as we go into next week on Miller Time. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's program. We're back on the air tomorrow at 5, 1 hour leading up to the pregame at 6, 7 o'clock, the kickoff, Hedgesville at Martinsburg right here. This is Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg. Your time is 7 o'clock.
Now your local news from Talk Radio WRNR. The